الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Alhamdulillah, we've come to our Khatm al-Quran night in which we will come together to listen to the complete recitation of the Quran. And in the last 8 nights, we've been focusing and doing reflections on Surah Taha. So we continue. Yesterday we had some glimpses into the life of the hereafter, specifically focusing on the Day of Judgment. And today, Allah Azza wa Jal offers a brief story of Adam alayhi salam. The title of this story is, Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَلَقَدْ عَهِدْنَا إِلَىٰ آدَمَ مِنْ قَبْلِ فَنَسِيَ وَلَمْ نَجِدْ لَهُ عَزْمًا. That we took a covenant, we gave a command to Adam alayhi salam before, when we told him not to eat from the tree. فَنَسِيَ, he forgot. وَلَمْ نَجِدْ لَهُ عَزْمًا, and we found him not resolute. Another reading is that we found him not resolute to commit sin. So there's 2 readings of this ayah. So this is the title of the story, and now we jump into the story. وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ أَبَى. And we stated to the angels, this is Allah speaking, we stated to the angels, bow down, make sajda to Adam. So they all bowed down except for Iblis. He was amongst the jinn. فَأَبَى, and he refused. Because in another verse in the Quran, he says, قَالَ أَنَا خَيْرٌ مِّنْ خَلَقْتَنِي مِنْ نَارٍ وَخَلَقْتَهُ مِنْ طِينٍ. And I am better than him. You created me from fire and you created him from clay. فَقُلْنَا يَا آدَمُ إِنَّ هَذَا عَدُوٌّ لَكَ وَلِزَوْجِكَ فَلَا يُخْرِجَنَّكُمَا مِنَ الْجَنَّةِ فَتَشْقَى. In response to this rebellion, Allah Azza wa Jal tells Adam, إِنَّ هَذَا عَدُوٌّ لَكَ. There's no one else that is made a clear عَدُوٌّ مُبِينٌ in the Quran except for shaitan, that no one is made an enemy of a Muslim, of a believer, except for shaitan. And nowhere else does Allah Azza wa Jal state it so clearly that the only enemy that we have is shaitan. So this shaitan is a enemy to you and to your spouse, and don't allow him to drive you out of paradise, fatashqa, and to make you in a state of anxiety and stress. إِنَّ لَكَ أَلَّا تَجُوعَ فِيهَا وَلَا تَعْرَى. All of this, meaning Jannah, is for you so that you don't go hungry and that your nakedness is not exposed. وَأَنَّكَ لَا تَظْمَأُ فِيهَا وَلَا تَضْحَى. And that you are not thirsty therein, and that you don't suffer from heat stroke. Because tadha comes from duha, which is kind of like the cool hours of the daytime. فَوَسْوَسَ إِلَيْهِ الشَّيْطَانُ قَالَ يَا آدَمَ هَلْ أَدُلُّكَ عَلَى شَجَرَةِ الْخُلْدِ وَمُلْكٍ لَا يَبْلَى. So Shaitan whispered to Adam. He said, "Oh Adam, let me point you to the tree of immortality. And let me point you to a power that will never decease, that will never decay." So this points to a psychological trick of shaitan, that if you think about history, you think about literature, you think about even today, what is it that's promised to man in order to drive him away from the commandments of Allah? It's the promise of immortality. It's the promise of forever beauty. It's for the promise of our vitality to forever remain strong. So this is one of the guiles and one of the whispers of shaitan to promise people this immortality. فَأَكَلَا مِنْهَا فَبَدَتْ لَهُمَا سَوْآتُهُمَا وَطَفِقَا يَخْصِفَانِ عَلَيْهِمَا مِنْ وَرَقِ الْجَنَّةِ. So both of them, meaning Adam alayhi salam and Hawa alayhi salam, that they became, when they ate it and they clearly disobeyed the commandment of Allah Azza wa Jal, they became aware of their nakedness and they began to cover themselves up with the leaves of paradise. وَعَصَى آدَمُ رَبَّهُ فَغَوَى. Adam disobeyed his Lord and he was led astray. However, ثُمَّ اجْتَبَاهُ رَبُّهُ فَتَابَ عَلَيْهِ وَهَدَى. Other stories in the Quran mention the incredible regret, the nadam, the tawbah, the seeking forgiveness that Adam alayhi salam committed to after making this mistake. So the first human gives us a lesson that we are insan. Insan comes from some people. There's a disagreement on what is the root of the word insan, but one of it is that it comes from nasiya, which means to forget. So there's something innate in human nature to forget. Sometimes we get clear commandments from Allah Azza wa Jal. Sometimes we have an awesome Ramadan and we're praying 5 times a day. We're on on it, and then we forget. Things get prioritized. The whispers of shaitan come in, and the whispers of shaitan these days are quite loud. ثُمَّ اجْتَبَاهُ رَبُّهُ. However, Allah Azza wa Jal selected Adam alayhi salam, fataba, and he returned to Allah Azza wa Jal. So anytime we commit to Allah Azza wa Jal, don't let shaitan trick you into thinking that we are too debased, that we can't ever turn to Allah Azza wa Jal. No sin is too great for us to not turn to Allah Azza wa Jal. So always remember the door of tawbah, so long as we can draw breath, is open. Wahada. And because of this tawbah, he was guided. قَالَ اهْبِطَا مِنْهَا جَمِيعًا بَعْضُكُمْ لِبَعْضٍ عَدُوٌّ. That now Allah Azza wa Jal tells Shaitan, Adam and Hawa to leave altogether, to leave paradise, and each other, you are enemies to each other. فَإِمَّا يَأْتِيَنَّكُمْ مِنِّي هُدًى. But as for whenever guidance from me comes, فَمَنِ اتَّبَعَ هُدَايَ. And the one who takes my guidance, فَلَا يَضِلُّ وَلَا يَشْقَى. There will be no misguidance, no going astray, وَلَا يَشْقَى. And there will be no misery for this person. وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكًا وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى. But as for the person who turns away from my remembrance, and what is dhikr? Dhikr we commonly know is saying subhanallah, alhamdulillah, but we know dhikr is one of the names of the Quran. So Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying is turn to the Quran when we make mistakes, turn to the Quran when seeking guidance in this life. But as for the one who turns away, فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً. He's going to have a constricted, tight life. What is this constriction and tightness that we feel in the modern day? It's the constriction of anxiety, of depression, of stress, of feeling like there's not enough money, that we have to lie, cheat, and steal in order to get by in life. فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكًا. For the one who turns away, their entire life is going to be constricted. It's going to be filled with hardship. وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى. And we will raise them on the day of judgment blind. قَالَ رَبِّ لِمَ حَشَرْتَنِي أَعْمَى وَقَدْ كُنْتُ بَصِيرًا. My Lord, how come you've raised me blind while I was able to see in this life? كَذَلِكَ أَتَتْكَ آيَاتُنَا فَنَسِيتَهَا وَكَذَلِكَ الْيَوْمَ تُنْسَى. That there's a lot of subtle things in the Arabic here. First of all, there is a bit of irony, that there's a bit of like anger that's being communicated by Allah Azza wa Jal by changing the tense. He says, you forgot my ayahs, فَنَسِيتَهَا وَكَذَلِكَ أَتَتْكَ آيَاتُنَا. Like my verses came to you, but you forgot them. But on this day you are forgotten. Like Allah doesn't even mention that who are they forgotten by. That's the distance that Allah is communicating, that you're just forgotten. Allah doesn't say, I forgot you, you're just forgotten on this day. And may Allah Azza wa Jal protect us from such an end. وَكَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي مَنْ أَسْرَفَ وَلَمْ يُؤْمِنْ بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِ وَلَعَذَابُ الْآخِرَةِ أَشَدُّ وَأَبْقَى. And like this, the one who does israf, right? Israf is a word in Urdu, who goes beyond the limits, who goes excessive in what they were told not to do, and they were kind of not doing what they were supposed to do, who was unjust, وَلَمْ يُؤْمِنْ بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِ, and didn't believe in the ayat of his Lord, وَلَعَذَابُ الْآخِرَةِ أَشَدُّ وَأَبْقَى. But the punishment of the akhirah is more intense and more everlasting, referring to the time that we spend in this life. And if we remember yesterday's scene, that the people on the day of judgment will say that it seemed like we only stayed in this world for 10 days. seem like we only stayed in this world for one day. So while the rat race of keeping up with the bills, of the politics of our time make it seem like we are here for a long time, and that the triumphs, the tribulations, the hard work that we're putting in may last for a long time, remember, this is one of the guiles of shaitan. هَلْ أَدُلُّكُمْ عَلَى شَجَرَةِ الْخُلْدِ وَمُلْكٍ لَا يَبْلَى, that shall I point you to the tree of immortality that will make you stay here forever and make you powerful forever? Know that every one of us who has health is going to face illness one day. Know that any wealth that we enjoy today, know that it is all going to go back, and we're going to leave this world with whatever we amass. We're going to leave this world with it. So the constant reminder of the Quran is to remind us of the temporary nature of this world, that we're here for a certain time, that we're here for a temporary time, and that our mission in life is to live a life according to the commandments of Allah, so that we can, one of the benefits is not just the benefits that come in the hereafter, but the entire summary sometimes of the Sharia is daf'ul mafasid wa jalbul manafi', that living according to the teachings of the Quran is going to maximize happiness and benefit in this life and minimize harm and suffering in this life. So it's not just something for the hereafter, but all of these rules that sometimes feel like there's a constriction, they're there for our benefit. وَصَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَى سَيِّدِنَا مُحَمَّدٍ وَآلِهِ وَصَحْبِهِ وَسَلَّمَ. Inshallah, tomorrow we will finish our reflections on Surah Taha, so please join us. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.